Okay, welcome, ladies and gents, to the live stream today. Gosh, what a crazy, explosive last 24 hours it's been with the US election. Absolutely unbelievable. I'm not going to go over it in minute detail because you've probably been glued to the screen yourself through the election and all the news today. So I'm going to come at it from a slightly different approach. We're going to talk about a lot of other things around the election. But one thing I wanted to begin with was, as always, as you know, I like to watch both sides. So I was watching CNN and I'd be watching Fox News. So I like to watch both of them because they're complete polar opposites. And it was so fascinating to me that Fox called it for Trump almost, very, very quickly in the early hours. And even today, I think it was still late afternoon, and CNN still hadn't called it. They were like, "Oh, the votes are still coming in." It's like, no, it's what was it on? He was on something like 273 or whatever it was. It's like, "Oh no, well, there's still it's still being contested, and there's these." I was like, okay, I wanted to show you a couple of clips here, and then we'll talk about the Amish. We're going to talk about a lot of other things, but let me know. I'd like to know in the chat here. I'm looking at the chat, by the way. Sometimes people say, why is he looking over here? I am looking at the chat. Are you happy with the Trump victory? I know a lot of you will be. I also know that some of my subscribers maybe won't be happy with that, but either way, let's get into this. I'll be watching the chat a little bit as we go as well. Here, I paused on this bit earlier because I wanted you to hear this, because they said the headline has changed, because it said originally Trump seizes power again. I was like, what? Trump seizes power? No, it's an election. He didn't seize power. He won the election, right? So let's just play this clip here.
He will return to office after 2 impeachments in his first term, followed by unprecedented criminal indictments and felony convictions. Mr. Trump scoring a landmark victory as he...
So a few things that just I had to laugh at. He calls him Mr. Trump all the way through. He doesn't call him, President Trump, even though he was an ex-president. And he kept going on about all of these indictments, criminal conviction. He just non-stop bombarding. They wouldn't even call it. I think they've officially called it now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they've called it now. The headline's updated. I mean, look, it was called a long time ago. They wouldn't go along with it. One thing I thought was interesting. Oh, actually, they've just called Michigan as well here. So that's happened in the last 10 minutes here. So Michigan's just been called as well. We've also, we got Alaska left, Arizona, and Nevada, but Trump's ahead in all three. Not that it matters too much now, but one thing I thought was interesting is if you look at the counties here on the map, they said, oh, CNN was saying, no, it wasn't a red wave. They were expecting a red wave. It wasn't a red wave. Actually, look at this. It is pure. I mean, does that look like it wasn't a red wave? Because it does to me. And I'm glad as well. Remember I said that I expected Trump to get about 60% of the votes, Harris to get about 40%. I am so glad I don't have to eat my words or eat my hat, or a lot of you sort of messaged in and said, Neil, you should eat your script live on air if you are wrong on this election. So I'm glad I don't have to eat my script or anything like that today. Okay, I can see some people say they've been doing the Trump dance all morning. Becky says she's disgusted. Whoa, it's very, very interesting in the chat here. Yeah. Okay, a lot of people are very happy. There's a few people who are not happy. That is the way it goes, unfortunately, with elections. I'm going to go through all of the interesting stuff that I found. I want to start with this. Now, this is all about the UK then. The UK, this is what Starmer said. He said Trump is an odious, sad little man. This is previously, by the way. All of these things that have come out, these are what they've previously said about Trump. But guess who was one of the first people to reach out to Trump and congratulate him? It was Keir Starmer. And the thing that just mind-boggling about this is, remember the Labour Party sent out, what was it, 100 people to campaign for Harris and give advice on how she could win. all this stuff. It was election interference. Let's just be honest. That's what it was. And now they've all come out. I've actually, this article pulls together all of the things that the current Labour Party said. See, there was all this interference. Here we go. Starmer posted on, this is previously Twitter, an endorsement from Donald Trump tells you everything you need to know about what is wrong with Boris Johnson. He isn't fit to be Prime Minister. So there was one. David Lammy, who's the Defense Secretary, this is probably not good for David Lammy right now. He was the most vocal anti-Trump. He called him a neo-Nazi, sympathizing sociopath. It's one thing he called him. He criticized Theresa May for inviting Trump for a state visit, said that, you know, she shouldn't have done that, etc. Trump and Sadiq Khan, well, we know what Sadiq Khan had said and allowed against Trump with the balloon and all sorts of things. Lammy called Trump a troll who is beneath contempt, right? So you can see all the things that they said. It goes on and on and on. This is the Deputy Prime Minister. I'll tell you why. I'll give you context for this in a minute. The Deputy PM, Angela Rayner, as well, she said, I'm so happy to see the back of Trump. This was when in 2021. So there's all these comments that they said, and now, well, Trump's looking to do some, yeah, here we go. We're up to 279 now, 279. By the way, look at this. What do you think this is a little bit interesting? That, oh, okay, they've changed this. They've changed this image. So what, you can look at this on, what's it called? Time Machine as well. So they had this as Democrat winning quite heavily at first. And they just had a picture of Kamala. There was no picture of Trump there at all. And I thought that was weird. And they've now put him on here on this banner, which is strange. Netanyahu as well, one of the first to congratulate him. I'll go through all the comments from world leaders in a minute because they are funny. But what I found bizarre is if you're in the UK, get ready for some trouble. And I mean big, big trouble if you're in the UK. Because well, let me just say, the UK cabinet is in meltdown today. I'm surprised they haven't called a Cobra meeting to discuss this, because they said these tariffs are going to absolutely cripple the UK. They've said it's going to reverse all of the good work they've done in the last week. Good work in the last week. What, raised £50 billion more from people's and businesses' taxes? Oh yeah, that's good work. people just don't seem to understand what this means. The government is just taking more control, and we'll come on to the Amish in a minute, because yeah, that was interesting. You know, we've got to talk about the Amish. But the UK now, they are in meltdown. They said these tariffs are going to halve UK growth, push up prices. They said that the UK is going to be the worst affected. Well, it's already one of the worst. And this is the other thing that I just couldn't believe. So after they said all this nasty stuff about Trump, they've now going to urge Trump. So she's going to try and get a meeting. It's so funny, isn't it? It's laughable. After all the stuff they've said about him, they now want to get a meeting with him to ask him, please don't raise these tariffs on products around the world. Yeah, they said that it's not fair for Trump to be protectionist for Americans because it would affect British citizens. Do you really think he is going to care about British citizens? I really don't, to be honest. I think they're in cloud cuckoo land if they think they're going to get this meeting. So the think tanks have said that this is going to be pretty serious. National Institute of Economic and Social Research said these protectionist measures will result in weaker activity, rising inflation, and higher interest rates from the Bank of England. They said, were Trump to go ahead with a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. So for context here, this isn't just about the UK. This is really about it's not as if he's putting tariffs on the UK. It's these tariffs on Chinese goods and other goods around the world. That is what the UK is upset about. There is a link there. It's a little more complex economically though. So they said that the UK growth would lower by 0.7% and 0.5% in the first 2 years. They said in the absence of Trump though, the UK would grow by 1.2% and 1.4% in 2026. So they are not happy at all about this. And I guess they didn't expect him to win. But what has Keir Starmer now said? He said, I look forward to working with Trump in the years ahead. Talk about snake oil. Goodness me, he said all that nasty stuff, and now he's so happy to be working with him. Now, here's the genuine people. It was the Prime Minister, Viktor Orban. He's always been a Trump ally. He said it was a much needed victory for the world. The biggest comeback in US political history, he posted on X. The Slovak Prime Minister, Robert Fico, someone's going to, gosh, what is it? Fico, that's it. The Slovakians always get annoyed in the chat. Fico said Trump's victory was a defeat of liberal and progressive ideas. He added the election was also a confirmation to never trust the media and polls. You know, I think we got a really great lesson from the media and all the polls. But I mean, I already covered it all on Monday, as you saw in the stream. And I said, these polls are absolute nonsense, 50-50 all the way. And that's why it's important to vote, etc. It was never 50-50. They say that because they need... Anyway, we won't go into all the details on that, actually. Let's just move on. This was... who was this? Oh, yeah. NATO secretary, who hates Trump, said Trump's leadership will again be key to keeping our alliance strong. I look forward to working with him again to advance peace through strength through NATO. Really? But Zelensky was, I think, second after Netanyahu to leave Trump a message. He said, I appreciate Trump's commitment to peace through strength. Sounds like something out of 1984, doesn't it? Peace through strength approach in global affairs. This is exactly the principle that can practically bring just peace in Ukraine closer. Trump promised to push Zelensky to cut a deal with Putin, one that may involve a loss of territory. Ukraine fears he will reduce US military and financial support. I would expect that very quickly. I think what we're, and again, I'm not a Trump analyst here, by the way. I'm just giving you a couple of thoughts off the top of my head. I think, just having read and listened to some of his speeches, Trump will be very protectionist, which is great if you are in the UK. Terrible if you're in the UK. I think he'll be great if you're in the US, because from an economic point of view, he's already outlined a lot of his economic policies. You know, he said, drill, baby, drill. He's going to get energy pumping, therefore make it cheaper. We talked about energy linked to GDP, how this will bring down a lot of costs. Gas prices should come down in theory. Let's see what happens. But I do think he's going to be very protectionist. What does that mean? I think he's going to cut funding for NATO, for Ukraine, for a lot of the wars, unless the only way I don't think he would do it is if there was an opportunity there to boost US defense contracts. So if they're going to be paying loads of money and taking loans and, you know, whatever from the US with all of these defense contracts and weapons, I think that would be a different story. That would be the sort of X factor wild card there. Yeah, still looking at the chat a little bit here. interesting comments today. So let's carry on. Giorgia Meloni then, yeah, the Italian Prime Minister, she said that Italy and US were linked by an unshakable alliance, common values, historic friendship, and she's sure that they will strengthen even further. Ursula von der Leyen, who we know hates Trump, said that the US and US were more than just allies. That was what she said. Okay, a bit strange. Justin Trudeau, again, doesn't like Trump, said he would work together to create more opportunity, prosperity, and security for both of our nations. You know what that means straight away. These are very, very sort of neutral statements. Brazilian De Silva, he expressed support for Harris, remember, wished luck and success to Trump, adding that the world needs dialogue and joint work for more peace, development, and prosperity. So you can see I mean, some of these people I don't think are going to be happy. They'll be planning stuff now as to the fallout from all of this. Now, what was interesting was the Kremlin. So Russia didn't really put out much of a statement at all. Said that Putin is not going to be congratulating Trump because the US is an unfriendly country. He said that Russia would judge Trump on his actions, will draw conclusions based on concrete steps and concrete words. Very similar with Iran, said that they wouldn't be affected by the US election. Well, I think they may be affected quite badly, as we know what Trump did last time with sanctions and things like that. It wouldn't surprise me if it happened again. India's prime minister described him as a friend. Turkey as well. Erdogan, friends with Trump. Milei, also friends with Trump, said positive things. Australian prime minister hates Trump, said the US has long played a leadership role in the stability and security of the Indo-Pacific. Australia will strive to strengthen the cooperation. Again, it's a very neutral thing. They have to say these things. China was the one that really made me laugh. Their statement was, the US presidential election is their domestic affairs. We respect the American people's choice. That is so Chinese of a statement. North Korea, there was no statement at all. But remember that they actually met. Trump actually met him, remember? He crossed the border. But we had to have the idiots come out, just stop oil. And they decided to spray paint the US embassy. They thought that would be a good idea, to spray paint the US embassy to voice their opposition to a Trump presidency. Yeah, genius. The Telegraph reports that the blame game has started. Harris is now saying that she picked the wrong running mate, trying to pass over blame. What surprised me, she didn't even turn up. What normally happens is on election night, you would you'd shake the hand of the other person. I am really surprised that she didn't even turn up to her own event and just say, thank you everyone for being here. Like, I mean, whether you liked Hillary Clinton or not, I'm not a fan of her. Let me just throw that out there. She actually turned up. She shook hands with Trump and did all that sort of stuff. She thanked all of her supporters for coming. She at least did that. Harris didn't even turn up. I mean, who does that? Who doesn't turn up after all those people have done all of that for you, not to even turn up and thank them? Tells me a lot there, right there. Yeah, we talked about Ukraine a lot. There is Zelensky is in panic mode. I think they're trying to. We'll see what happens here. I'm going to hold my comments on what happens with Ukraine and Russia, because I think we need to just watch what Trump does there. Oh, there was also all of this. I don't know if you saw Seattle as usual. This was chaos. But what was funny about this? Where's the clip? Oh, actually, there's a lot of bad language here. Sorry. Nobody likes you here. Yeah, I won't play all of this. This guy is just absolutely giving it to the police, and they're not doing anything about it. They hold on, let me see. Let me get past all the swearing here. Here the police respond with, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can you just relax? Let the police do their job. We want you to have your First Amendment right. This guy is absolutely giving it to the police, and I feel bad for the police that they can't seem to do anything about it. And this is what they're called, the softer approach now. I can't. Someone drop in the chat what this is. This is new policy in Seattle and Portland and all of these sort of cities, where the police have to take this softer approach. So rather than turn up in riot gear, even though the other guys look pretty serious, they're all blacked out and masks and whatever else. And they're obviously organized, and they're saying that it wasn't an CNN, it's not an organized group and all the other stuff. Yeah, okay. The police now taking this different approach. So they're on bicycles, they're not in any riot gear. I mean, I would not want to go into there if I was a police officer without all my gear, when you've got these guys going crazy and throwing stuff and everything else. And they have the police going through, oh, thank you so much. Who starts a message with thank you so much? Thank you so much for being here and voicing your opinions. It's like, okay, anyway, let's swiftly moving on. Oh, hold on, let me see if this works.
Without throwing things in the street, without interfering with the police or them making arrests for those crimes.
Thank you so much for coming out and all this. Yeah, okay. All right, we got to talk about the Amish. We got to get to this story. The Amish. What do I think has swung a lot of this then? Well, and then we'll show you a couple of videos here. Do you remember when we talked back in January about, it was the USDA, they raided Amish farms. People who've been doing the same process, like the milk farmer, for example, dairy farmer, for over 30 years. And the USDA go in, close him down. And they close down different farms, farm shops, because they didn't have an official license. They've been doing this. Leave the people alone. I mean, that's the first point. Leave the Amish alone. It's so annoying when the government wants to get involved in groups and communities. They're in the middle of nowhere. They're not bothering anyone, especially Pennsylvania and places. They're just doing their thing. The government has to get involved and say, oh, you need to follow, these specific rules. It's massive government overreach. And you know what? You look at the Amish, they don't typically tend to get involved politically in anything like that. Well, this time around they did, big time. And it was so funny. I actually laughed out loud when I saw the horse and buggies with all the Trump flags on, because normally you see the Trump flags on big trucks and muscle cars and all that. To see it on these horse and buggies going down the street was pretty funny to see. But look, they came out. What was it? 80,000 of them voted for Trump. It's pretty much all of them. And they swung the state, is what they're saying now. They swung the state of Pennsylvania. Don't mess with these people. Here we go.
And who are you voting for?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Are you Amish? Can I ask? Awesome. Yep. And so the Amish are going to be coming out to vote this year?
Some of them, yeah.
What has caused so many of the Amish to register to vote this year?
Probably just they want to get out and vote and make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's so polite.
This past 4 years underneath the Biden-Harris administration?
I would say definitely, yeah.
And in what ways has the Amish communities been affected?
One way is that with Trump, the Amish had, I would say, they had more freedom, and with the Biden administration.
I only just realized, is he going to drink all of that water? That is a massive water bottle. This guy is really polite, though.
Administration, there was not, it started getting tighter and tighter. And
I just heard yesterday that.
Yeah. This guy was saying 180,000 Amish, but I think it was about 80,000 from what I heard. This is the Mormon and Amish populations, by the way, projected through to 2100. Look at that. That is massive. That is, yeah, they're all out in full force. They were all out in full force. I got it. Where's that video? Oh, yeah, look at this for a convoy. All the way through. Where's the... Oh, hold on.
You ain't the same on the game. Hey, Donald Trump is your president.
But I don't want to get a copyright strike. But this was the convoy. And, okay, let me give you a fair warning. If you don't want to see this guy go crazy, there is a swear word. He rips off. If you don't want to see him, look away now. Pause your video, okay? Are you ready? Pause, look away.
I can't believe Trump's actually going to win this fucking thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm so pissed off. Fuck. God damn it.
There's a lot of these videos all over the internet that I found. People are in absolute meltdown at the moment about this. There's hundreds, if not thousands of these videos. People are going crazy, absolutely crazy. And then I found all this stuff for you. How to cope if the election didn't go your way. Tons of these articles. It was all over the media. Here's I'm a therapist, how to cope with the anxiety from not winning. How to talk to your children and handle the stress about the election. I don't really think the children even know what's going on, to be honest. Well, no, in fact, if you educate your children, they would do. How to reduce workplace anxiety after the election as well. How to move to Canada. There's a look at this. This is spiked. Look at this on the chart. But you know what's funny about all of this stuff? Do you remember in 2016, you had all these actors coming out and saying, if Trump wins this time, I am leaving the country. I'm out. There was loads of them. Loads of them. I did check, if you remember that video, I checked and none of them left. Not one of them left. So all the people that have said this time that they're leaving, I'm going to track it, and I bet you none of them will leave. What else was I going to show you? Oh yeah, this was, I thought was interesting. So someone actually tracked and did this poll on all of the bias with the media and who controls the media, who owns it. And if you look at the control, this shows you just how unbelievable this election was. Look at the, and this is Google, Bing, Yahoo. Look at it, their lean is left leaning. Search engine bias for term election news. Look how heavily it was. So the fact that the Republicans won this year says a lot. It really does. Look at this. Even look at this search here by topic. It is so left-leaning. It's unbelievable. Even the main media here, Fox News is the only one that's right-leaning, as you can see. All the rest is left-leaning. And that gave, and it shows the advantage as well. Someone's done a really good job on all the data sets here, actually. It shows you just how it was 78 positive for blues, 15% positive for red. So it really is unbelievable how it went. That, I think that's you mainly up to date on it all. I'm not going to go through all the, you know, this state won this state won that, and all the votes, because you can see all that on the news. I just like to bring a different approach to the stream today. But what a result! What an election! I'm going to see the chat. Yeah. A lot of people still saying. A lot of people happy. Yeah. Okay, well, it seems like overall most people in the chat are happy. A few people not happy, but thanks so much for being online today. This is my last stream from the studio for a while. I'll keep you posted. I'm going to be in Portugal, going to Portugal Friday, so I'll do a, depend on how much time, I might have to do a walk and talk from the airport also. No, maybe not, because I almost got arrested last time. I did a walk and talk, filmed in the airport. We don't want me getting arrested, so I'll try and record outside or something and get it posted for Friday. I've got some interesting news coming out this week. A few things I'm monitoring as well. See how it goes. Okay, thanks for being online. Really appreciate you all as always. God bless you and your families as well. Take care. I'll see you on Friday, I hope.